Namaskaram, everybody. Welcome to Sham's Storytime. My name is Shamala. Today I have another interesting story. Tales of Shivaji. So who is Shivaji? Let us know that first. Shivaji was a great Maratha ruler. Some of you might have heard of him. He is always referred to as Chhatrapathi Shivaji Maharaj. That's the name given to him. You know, he has his fort at a place called Raigad. It is in present-day Maharashtra. And there he built a huge fort and he stayed there. He conquered many parts in the northern part of India. Not only that, he also conquered the hearts of many people. Many of them loved him. This is Chhatrapathi Shivaji Maharaj. He was given the title Chhatrapati. Chhatrapati means emperor, emperor of all emperors in the year 1674. During that time, he reigned around the parts where we have Maharashtra today. So during his time, there was a beautiful thing that happened. I'm going to share with you today this. It is a true story, mind you, okay? The name of this story is Hira the Milkmaid. That's the name of the story. So who was Hira? As all of you guessed, she was a milkmaid. What is the meaning of a milkmaid? You might have all had milkmaid from that tiny can, is it not? So delicious. But a milkmaid means a woman who draws milk from a cow and supplies it to all the people. We call them milkman, right? Sometimes, some of your houses, your mom may be buying fresh milk. There might be a milkman who comes door to door to deliver milk, is it not? So this milkmaid is a woman who does this job. So Hira, that's her short name. Her actual name is Hirakani. So Hirakani was a milkmaid who lived in a village. Where was this village? This village was at the foothills of a big hill. On top of that hill was Raigad, was the place where Chhatrapathi Shivaji had his fort. So this was a huge fort. A fort means you can imagine like a big city in itself. So what was there on top of that fort? At the middle was a big castle, or it's like a palace where Shivaji Maharaj himself lived along with his family. Around that it had the quarters of all the ministers, and around that a lot of other people, businessmen, everybody lived. This was a big place, and around this place a huge wall was built, and this whole thing is called a fort. Shivaji Maharaj was known for his bravery. He had conquered many of the surrounding places, and to make sure that an enemy doesn't come inside the fort, he had made sure that the walls were thick, that the walls were strong and tall enough. There were guards posted at various places. This is Raigad Fort. Just it was on top of a hill. At the foothill was a village where Hirakani lived. She lived with her family. Who were all there in her family? She lived with her baby. Her baby was just born, very little. Her mother-in-law was also there. What's the meaning of mother-in-law? Her husband's mother. Okay, so she lived with her baby and her mother-in-law. Where was her husband? Her husband was a soldier in the army of Shivaji Maharaj. So he had gone somewhere else to participate in a big battle. So he was not at home. It was just Hira along with her baby and mother-in-law in her house, which was in a small village at the foothills. All of you can imagine what was her job. Morning, she would milk her cows, gather all the milk in huge pots. She would climb up the hill and go to the fort. She would supply milk to everybody's house there, and then she would come back. In the evening, what would Hira do? She would do the same thing. She would milk her cows, collect all of them in huge pots. She would carry it on top of her head and climb up the hill. She would go into the fort, supply milk to everybody and come back home. This was her daily routine. Can all of you imagine? This was what Hira was doing. And up above in the fort, there were huge fort walls. Okay, there was also a big gate, and that gate is opened exactly at sunrise. There were guards in front of the gate who would keep it open so people can come and go the entire day. And exactly at sunset, they would close the gates. After that, nobody can go out or come in. This has been a command or an order from Shivaji Maharaj himself. The guards that were there, they followed the order of their beloved king. Never in between do they do anything with the gates. This was always the case. Whenever Hira was away to supply milk, her mother-in-law would take care of the baby. Hira would rush back in the evening so she can take care of her baby. Her baby was so small. She has to feed her baby milk, and then she would sing a lullaby to put the baby to sleep every night. The baby was so attached to the mother. Every evening he would just wait for Hira to come back after supplying milk everywhere. And so the baby can be with the mother. One day this happened. This is a very important part in the story. So it was her evening visit to the fort. She had come, she has supplied milk to everybody. Now it's time for her to go back home. But there were some celebrations happening inside the fort. She lost track of time. She stood there and watched all the festivities. There was music, there was dance, and everything was happening. It was so beautiful. She just forgot herself. She watched all the festivities. Then she turned around to go. She realized it was past sunset time. That means what? I told you the fort gates would be closed. She can't go out. She ran to the gate. The guards had just closed. She pleaded with them, can you please open it? I want to go out. I have to climb down the hill. I have to take care of my baby. They said, all that is fine, Madam Ji, but I cannot open the gate. It is Shivaji Maharaj's order, they said. She said, no, you don't even have to open the gate fully. Just open it a little bit. I can slide out then so I can meet my baby. Please understand my position. I'm a mother and my baby is so small. I have to go and feed my baby. I have to put him to sleep. Please, please, she pleaded. The guard said, we understand your plight, but nothing is in our hands. Our Maharaj, Shivaji Maharaj's order is, once we close the fort gates, we cannot open it until tomorrow morning. But don't you worry, your baby is staying with your mother-in-law, right? Your mother-in-law will take care of the baby. For tonight alone, you stay in one of your friends' houses inside the fort. Tomorrow morning at sunrise, we will open. You can run and go to meet your child. Please don't worry. They said, Arey Bhaiya, no. Please open the gate. I have to go. I have to meet my baby. She pleaded. Can you see? They said, no way, it is not possible. She also knows that how everybody in Raigad, not just the guards, everybody loved to follow the orders of Shivaji Maharaj. He was a very, very just king, and all his subjects loved the king so much. She didn't also want to break a law or break a rule that was imposed. She said, okay. She kept walking around the fort. Along the wall, she kept walking. But within her mind, she understood, oh my God, my baby, I have to meet my baby tonight. How can I stay alone here? She almost was in tears, but she didn't know what to do. The walls were very tall, very strong, very thick. How can she climb the wall? She wanted to climb the wall and jump out so she can quickly trek down the hill. She looked up, it was very, very tall. She kept walking. She came to the eastern end of the palace. The fort itself was slightly tilted because the terrain of the mountain was such. She came to the eastern end, and there the fort wall looked a little bit reachable. She decided, come what may, I have to go out of the fort by tonight. I have to be with my baby, whatever it is. The motherly instinct in her overpowered her. So she left her pot by a bush that was there. And she tried to hold on to the stones and scale up the wall. You know, those walls were made of stones and they were very, very strong. Somehow she tried to climb up. She was on top of the wall at the eastern side. There were no guards around. Luckily, then she looked down. Oh my God, it was a steep wall outside, and the hill was really bushy and thorny there. She did not mind. What was there in her mind? Her baby. She had to go and meet her baby. That was the only thing in her mind. She climbed up on the other side, but she had the guts. She climbed down below on the outside. It was so thorny. It was getting dark because it was later than her usual time, right? She just walked through the bushes. In places she fell down. Her sari tore and she got injured. Lot of injuries and bruises because all the thorns poked her. She did not mind any of these. What was in her mind? Her dear baby. That was the only thing. She rolled a little bit at a particular stretch which was very steep. Then somehow she reached the foothills. Then she realized, oh my God, somehow I have come down. She ran to her village. Then she came and knocked at her door. The baby was squealing like anything, wailing because the baby wanted to be with the mother. The baby was hungry, thirsty, sleepy, all put together. The poor old mother-in-law could not do anything about it. She was waiting. Oh, Hira, why are you late today? The baby is just waiting for you. She picked up her baby and embraced it. That's all. She was so happy. Then she fed the baby milk. Then she sang a lullaby and put her to sleep. That night was over. The next morning, as usual, she milked her cows, gathered all the milk in another pot. Remember, she had left her pot at the fort the previous evening. So she took a new pot, gathered all the milk, put it on top of her head, and she climbed up the hill the next morning to reach Raigad fort. Inside the fort, now the guards were there. Remember, they had a conversation with Hira the previous evening. They were feeling very bad. The entire night, those two guards were not even able to sleep. We thought, oh, that poor lady, maybe we should have sent him. How can we go against our Shivaji Maharaj's order? That's not possible. Let us open the gate today. Let this woman run to her baby. Thinking so, they both opened the gates of the fort. Who was standing outside? It was Hira standing outside with her pot of milk. Both of them were astounded. Hira, how did you? Last evening you were inside the fort. We were thinking you're going to go out now. How are you outside? They asked. She smiled and walked inside. She said, how can I stay away from my baby? I climbed up the wall and went off, she said. They did not believe her because it was the guards' security issue, is it not? They thought they were guarding the fort gates and nobody can come in or go out. They were thinking, but here was a woman whom they saw inside the fort past sunset the previous evening, and now she's standing fully alive and outside. How is it even possible? They could not believe it. She said, no, you're lying. Please tell us the truth. This can't be possible at all. They said. Then she told them, I'm telling the truth. How can I stay without my child? I walked around the fort and at the eastern corner I noticed that the wall was a little scalable. So I climbed up, I jumped down, and then I trekked down the hill to reach my village, she said. They did not believe her. They asked her, do you have a secret tunnel, a secret passage under the ground so you can go outside? They asked her, no, nothing of that sort. Please believe me. I did climb up the wall. She said. Then they said, no, you have to walk to Shivaji Maharaj. They said, and they took her inside the courtroom. There was Shivaji Maharaj sitting on his throne. He first listened to the guards. The guards told him everything from what happened the previous evening. They said, this morning when we opened the gates, this lady was standing outside and she says she climbed up the wall and jumped out. That cannot be possible, Your Majesty. They said, Shivaji Maharaj himself could not believe it. She is not a trained person. She is not a trained military personnel who can climb up and jump down. She was an ordinary woman. Then he listened to the lady. He asked her, don't worry about anything, my dear sister. Please tell me what happened. She said, I promise you, your majesty, I did climb up the wall at the eastern point because all I could think of was my dear baby. I wanted to go and be with him. That is why I climbed up, I jumped out, I trekked down the hill to reach my home. This is the truth, she said. Now Shivaji Maharaj was confused. He understood this woman is telling the truth. But for him, it was a big defeat. He thought that his fort walls were impregnable. Impregnable means nobody can come in or go out. There is only one point of entry and exit. That was the fort gates. Apart from that, nowhere else people can do. He was thinking no enemy can penetrate into the fort, and he also thought everybody inside the Raigad fort were safe. Now here was a woman who had gone out. Then he told her, don't you worry, I will come with you around the fort. Show me that exact spot where you climbed up. Saying so, Shivaji Maharaj followed her. Look here, my milk pot is right here at the bush. I left it last evening. Shivaji said, I'm going to ask you one thing, Hira. Can you really climb up this wall and show me now? He asked. Hira said, why not? I did it just last night. With great difficulty, she tried and she scaled it up. She reached the top of the wall. Then Shivaji Maharaj told her, can you also jump out and show us how you trekked down? He asked her. Hira looked down below. Oh, it was a steep wall. After that, the hill was like a forest, jungle, lot of thorns and bushes. She did not have the guts to jump down now. She said, Maharaj, I am looking down below. I am unable to jump out. I am scared, she said. She came down and told Maharaj, Gee, I am telling the truth. Yesterday I was able to do it, but today I am not able to. Shivaji asked her, why? Why is it so? She told him, yesterday there was a pressing need. All that was there in my mind was my baby. I had to go and meet my baby. That was the only thing in my mind. So all this thorn, these bushes and this steep wall, I did not mind at all. I could easily jump out. But today, I know that my baby is safe. I know that everything is fine. I am unable to do it, she said. Then Shivaji Maharaj asked her to climb down. He pulled his guards and said, I believe what she says. And what she says is perfectly true. Did I tell you? Shivaji Maharaj was known to be the most just king. So he understood. He rewarded her and told her that, you know what? You have taught me a lesson. You have showed me which part of the fort is weak, so an enemy can easily come in to attack us. So in this part, I'm going to rebuild the wall, making it taller, stronger, and thicker. I'm also going to build a small watchtower. Watchtower is like a small shelter inside which two soldiers can always stand and look down below the hill to make sure that no enemies are coming up to attack. A watchtower I'm going to build. And did you also know what Shivaji Maharaj said? I'm going to name this watchtower as Hirakani Buruj. That means Hirakani watchtower. It is named. And did you know this watchtower is there even today? If you get a chance to visit Maharashtra, go to Raigad fort, and there up above you have Hirakani watchtower. You can climb up and look down the hill. Did I tell you this is a true story? So Shivaji Maharaj said this, and immediately that part of the fort wall was rebuilt to make it stronger and thicker and taller. A watchtower was built, and Hirakani, the name, was written in the watchtower. Hira was so happy. With folded hands, she thanked Shivaji Maharaj and she prostrated in front of him. And he gave all his blessings to her and asked her to go back home happily. He rewarded her lots and lots of gold coins and told her that she need not live in poverty at all and that she can supply milk to the fort every day without any obstacles. That is the end of today's story. Isn't it a lovely story? Did you all enjoy it? It's very inspiring.